into a structured space of perfect competition based on intelligence and entrepreneurship in its best form.
Hello everybody, this is Value.Tokenized with Masha and Zenia. In this episode, we're interviewing Ivan Podmasko, managing partner at Scrypta legal tech firm and partner at Emery Capital. In this episode, we're mostly talking about programmable economy and decentralized autonomous organizations. Hi, Ivan. Thank you very much for being with us at Value.Tokenized today. Okay, and speaking about tokenization, one of the stated benefits of it is elimination of middlemen. How do you see it happening, and is this benefit already here?
When we talk about programmable economy stack, as I call it, we can separate several important layers, and let's call these layers who, what, how, and how many. And these are, first of all, we see actors formation and their structures. And this is what we call corporate law. Second, we have internal capital of these actors and their assets. We call it property law. And third, there is a transportation layer comprising of two parts. The first one, rules of interaction between actors. This is contract law. And rules of, so to say, record keeping of value exchange. This is financial law. And all of this we already see in our economy for a lot of years, so to say. Mm-hmm. And all these processes are intermediated by a lot of participants. So we need to write a bunch of documents to incorporate an actor, to file and register an actor. We need to write a bunch of documents to open a bank account, to file and register an actor in the bank register. We need to write documents to issue shares, to collect monetary capital, to buy property, to have a growth capital. We need to write documents to buy and somehow register this property. We need to keep inner accounts. We need to operate with other actors. We need to audit results of such interaction throughout the financial law. So we need to draft a lot of documents, and we need to see a lot of processes and monitor these processes. And all of this, I suppose, can be and automated due to distributed ledger technology. Distributed ledger technology goes down to the bottom of this economy stack and connects all interaction quanta into a single programmable space, so to say, forming a level of the basic transactional protocol in this programmable economy. And the main feature of this protocol of such connectivity is the absolute countability of any interaction, which doesn't require additional efforts or expenses. So it is a feature of the technology itself. So I suppose there will be no need for a lot of intermediaries that we see now in our technical intermediaries, so to say. And of course, it is the question of the infrastructural evolution now, and we can see its rapid growth. But we, of course, are just in early days, in the beginning. And but what I'm sure of right now is that accounting is turning to computation, and the law is turning to programming.
And from infrastructural point of view, a lot of players on the market right now are competing and creating their own protocols for security tokens, which they hope will become the next standard. What characteristics do the standards need to have to be most suitable for securities?
We can say that token and security token is a very complicated phenomenon, and to understand the meaning and to understand how we should evolve in this sphere, we should look back at what have already been done in law, in the legislation, in securities legislation, on the capital markets. First of all, we have here payment tokens. This one is pretty simple. It's just a unit of account without any underlying asset as a security. So we have here Bitcoin, we have all the forks of Bitcoin, we have Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Vault, Bitcoin anything else, Litecoin, Dash, Zcash, Peercoin, etc. We have utility tokens, which represent keys to access some kind of service integrated or firmly connected with the software. We have here, of course, Ethereum. We have a lot of tokens issued on Ethereum for such projects as Golem, Augur, Gnosis, Decentraland, and so on and so forth. And we have the most interesting, I suppose, thing is the security tokens, which represent the whole variety of financial instruments. We can mention here ERC 884. It's Delaware code relating to general corporation law compatible share token. We have Pandora Box chain with its ERC 1384. We have big collaboration of companies working on security token standard 1400. We have Polymath with its ST20. We have Arbor with its regulated token system and our token. We have Open Finance Network with its smart security standard S3 and Securitize with ES protocol. So I see all these standards as a first step, and in the end, I suppose there will be an enormous, highly structured library of financial instruments of any kind you can think of. Bricks in the wall of programmable economy, and we will have all the models that we do already have in law. And I suppose we will have much more and more complicated and more interesting models ahead in the future.
And you're also a partner in a venture fund. And I have a question about tokenized funds. Do you think they will be one of the key components of this like programmable economy? What's your view on that?
I think that we should use this phrase tokenized fund in this discussion as a general term, not only just as a VC fund. So let's say tokenized monetary fund. We can use it everywhere in the economy, and it will be used as a core element, as an internal capital for every legal programmable entity. I call it there are two elements that I suppose will be used. I call them, the first one is called equity management machine. This is the programmable algorithm to operate with equity. In the sphere of VC, you can say that this is the tokenization of the limited partners interest. Mm-hmm. And there is also the second part. I call it revenue split machine. This is the inner algorithm to work with the inner capital. So I suppose these two models will be used everywhere where we have some separate capital, be it a VC fund, be it a limited liability company, be it a partnership, or anything else where we have separate capital. We can put on it some programmable algorithm and manage this capital.
In one of your articles, you say that programming language will be the next language of legislation. But don't you think that it kind of limits general public from understanding it if we put law into code, and how it can be avoided?
I can say that law is a very complicated thing right now already, and the whole corpus of legislation is huge and absolutely unreadable for most people except lawyers. And even for them, even for lawyers, it takes decades to understand this corpus as a whole, as a regulatory machine, and to see the system in its essence. And the main point here is not this complexity. The main point here is the enforcement. Law is enforced now ex post. So you need to break the rule. Judge should understand the situation and resolve the issue, and then the state forces you to correct your behavior or to repair the damage you made. And sometimes it is hard to understand the issue, to find the truth, because we live in a very complicated world, and this world is becoming more and more complex day by day. So when we talk about the regulation on the basis of the programming language, we can talk about the enforcement ex ante. So first now we have enforcement ex post, and in this programming environment, we can have the enforcement ex ante. So the economical agents can choose from the library one algorithm, one model of future interaction between them, and customize it if needed and use it. So the situation where these two actors break this model is impossible. We're not talking here about some kind of hackers attack. This is another issue. But the actors themselves, they can't break it. They either follow the model or they not interact at all. This is the main point of smart contracts, and the smart contracts will be the basis for this programmable economy. And I suppose this model to be more fair and more understandable for public. And you know, rules from the start, and these rules can be broken. So we can take here an example of famous strategic game of chess. This is the game with no hidden information. Pure battlefield of intelligence. There are limited battlefield. There are a certain number of actors with exact and unchangeable roles. There are several basic moves. Let's call them functions when we talk about programmable economy. And this simplicity creates the indefinite complexity of the game. And it doesn't take long to understand and to learn the rules, but it can take years to become a master of the game. So I suppose should be the programmable economy. And now it is chaos, unpredictable and dangerous, with no stable rules and full of evil intents. And I suppose when we change our economy to some kind of a programmable game of chess, we will have another society. We will have another level. We will reach this another level, so to say, an upgrade or something. So the main here idea is that that game and its rules are united, and if there is no rules, there is no game. So this is it.
Yeah, this is a very good analogy. And in your opinion, what promises does programmable economy hold for the financial systems of the future?
So when we talk about the recording mechanism of the interactions, which is blockchain, we can first of all, I suppose, we can extrapolate this methodology to any interaction that is subject to a quantitative measurement, including information. This is the very general methodology. We can use it everywhere we can, where we have quantitative measurement. Second, we can build above this unified space of transactions, we can build any algorithm. These algorithms can be accounting algorithms or algorithms for management, expressing various rules of economic interactions, and grouping these transactions according to specific sets inside the economical model, and tying to them these algorithms above. This will allow us to segment the market into zones, into levels, and we can create a practically visual quantitative model of the economy. So to say, a 3D model of the economy. Imagine that you put VR glasses and you see the economy as a big building with a lot of levels, and as a 3D scene. So this is it. And what to say? The space of this, the space of algorithms that we create. So let's put it that way. This space of smart contracts that we can create above this basic protocol is the field of economic competition. Not the basic level, it's just the accountability level. But the second one, the level of the smart contracts. And there is one more thing that I suppose is very important, that we can get due to this programmable space, is the testnet. Imagine that you have an idea about some kind of some financial model. You can test it in the testnet, in the programmable space, emulated, where the real life is emulated in its whole, and you can see it just in real time how your financial model evolves, and you can understand how it lives. So this testnet for programmable economy, I suppose, will be a big step forward. And so the outcome of this programmable integration will also include several things. First of all, the statistical transparency of the entire economic model. We can see the statistic as a whole in every details. Second one, we will have programmable particles in these interactions. I'm talking about autonomous legal, programmable legal entities or decentralized autonomous organizations. So programmable particles, I call them. So these are the bunch of smart contracts. Third, we will have automatic assembly of financial statements of actors. And it will be possible by the click of the mouse. So if you want to understand the financial state of this actor, and if the information about the state is open, you can, by a click of a mouse, understand all the inner financial state of this entity. And the A, B, C, D, and we have the transition to a legal model of digital regulation ex ante, as I have already said. So not ex post, but ex ante. From the beginning of the interaction, we can see the exact results. So I suppose
you mentioned decentralized autonomous organizations. We know previously from talks with you that you're a big adept, so to say, of this concept.
A big fan.
Yeah, a big fan. A big fan of DAOs. A lot of people think that it's pretty utopic, the whole concepts. So how it can be implemented in the real world, and are there any examples maybe of proto DAOs that you see on the market?
So first of all, just to make things clear, DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization, and this is the pure algorithm. More precisely, it is the complex of algorithms that exist in the distributed network and has its own will. This is very important when we talk about autonomous in these three words. Autonomous means own will. And this will is to enter into economic relations, to make business decisions, to make transactions. And in this understanding, we can, at the current stage of technology development, we can say that this is the unrealized ideal. This is utopia. And according to Vitalik Buterin, the DAO is the holy grail of crypto economy. And I can say that no DAO currently exists. There is no pure decentralized autonomous organization. All projects that somehow use this abbreviation in their name or in their positioning, in their marketing, they are not autonomous, they are simply automated decision-making complex, implemented through the voting model of a certain set of participants of this project. So how it works? Now, there is some kind of some amount of internal capital, let's say $1 million, and there is a voting model above this $1 million, and some people around this. It can be developers, it can be lawyers, it can be, I don't know, PR specialists or something, some other. And by voting about this capital, they can participate in the distribution of this capital for their work. And in this sense, there are a lot of DAOs, yes, so proto-DAOs, so to say. And as I, as a corporate lawyer, see them now, they are simply, so to say, programmatic embryo of the corporate governance model. And the corporate governance model is the very old and seriously developed and practically tested model of governance of the old-fashioned corporations. And we see now as they are united somehow in this concept of DAO. And so in attempts to implement this DAO idea, one can see not only the technological improvement of the corporate management process, not only the emergence of new models and management systems, but one can also catch the reflection of this new economy, the programmable economy, which I suppose will become the significant evolutionary step towards efficient economic management. So even on the planetary level.
And in your opinion, how is the concept of DAOs or DAOs contributing to security token space, and how they can coexist?
This is a very interesting question, but I suppose that it is quite vice versa. Not DAO contribute to security tokens, but security tokens contribute to the idea of the DAO. We can say the main problem here is that security tokens was the first on the market, and then came the idea of the DAO. But when we see on the technological and the legal idea of this thing, we will understand that security tokens complement the DAO. They are just a little part of the DAO. You can see it DAO as the legal entity, and security token is just a part. It's just a right to participate in the management of this DAO, or to have a part of the profit of this DAO. These are two main ideas. So nevertheless, security tokens were first, and the DAO came after that. But the DAO is the bigger idea than the security tokens and the bigger mechanism.
You're based in Russia, as we all are. We see a lot of projects with either Russian founders or coming out of Russia, trying to make something in security token space, a lot of blockchain, like previously ICO people. So a lot of talent that is looking at SDOs. So what is going on in Russia in this regard?
I can say that something is going on, but it's very hard to predict what we will have in the end. We have three projects, three drafts of laws now in our parliament. One is already, one will come into force in the October, I suppose, 2019. But there is not much about the crypto economy. It is more likely about digitalization of our economy without tokens. So I'm not sure if we will have the legislation about the tokens, but we will have the legislation about the digitalization of contracts, about the possibility to make to contracting through internet. So this will be the first step. What about STOs? So if we talk about the digitalization of securities on the old-fashioned market, on old-fashioned capital market, I suppose that there will be significant steps, and I hope so. I hope that the old market will be digitalized, but I'm not sure that this market will be tokenized, if you get the idea. So this is it.
All right, I think that was it for today. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us at Value.Tokenized. It was a pleasure.
So I will finish this discourse with the general assumption that the distributed ledger technology can become, I hope, a philosophical stone of modern society, which will allow us to transform our current imperfect, difficult to predict, and sometimes simply corrupt markets into a structured space of perfect competition based on intelligence and entrepreneurship in its best form, and fueled not only by the personal egoistic interest, but also by the ideas of public welfare. And this premise is not only my inner conviction and aspiration, but also, I want to believe, a more or less realistic prospect, and the realization of which depends on the enthusiasts and pioneers in new distributed ledger technologies. So this is the conclusion, I suppose, for this talk. Thank you very much.
Yeah, this is very inspiring. We also built this channel, this project, Value.Tokenized, based on the same assumptions. So we're happy to see people sharing this. And yeah, thank you for being with us. This was Value.Tokenized with CryptoTwins. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and to our Twitter for short videos. And don't forget to ask our speakers questions in the comments.